Hey guys, it is Christian here. Today I am going to rank all 13 Blue Sky animated movies. If you're new here, please like and subscribe. Tell me what is your ranking of all the Blue Sky movies. We're gonna disagree, but that's okay. But just don't bash opinions in the comment section. So this ranking was pretty straightforward to come up with, and it's gonna be pretty predictable. So with this very short introduction, let's get started with the list. At number 13 is Ichi Collision Course. Ichi Collision Course is just a bad movie. The animation's okay, but in Scrat's pretty funny, but none of the characters are funny. There's way too many comic reliefs. The villains are like a Land Before Time, feel like they're in a Land Before Time sequel. None of the characters are funny. Crash and Eddie are easily the worst characters in the entire franchise. Buck is just terrible. Simon Pegg is way better in Mission Impossible, so this movie is just bad. The characters are bad. The writing is bad. The humor is just not funny. There's too many comic reliefs. The villains are in a Land Before Time sequel. So yeah, it's just a terrible movie. And easily the worst Blue Sky animated movie I have ever seen in my entire life. So yeah, this movie, it's just not really a good movie anymore, and it easily comes in last place. Coming in at number 12 is Rio II. Yeah, Rio II. This one is just mediocre meh. The animation is absolutely stunning, and I like Nigel and all the other villains. But the story is just terrible. The humor is not funny. I mean, the characters are just generic and bland, and it's just not as grand as the first movie was. It was just a pretty big disappointment. And I just couldn't really get into this movie. It has a good voice cast, Jesse Eisenberg and Anne Hathaway, but none of them give really great performances or distinct performances that I will remember 24 million years from now. So yeah, I just couldn't really enjoy this movie that much, which is probably why it's at number 12. Well, because I just couldn't get into it. Coming in at number 11 is Ice Age Continental Drift. Yeah, Continental Drift is just mediocre. The animation looks good, just like in Collision Course, but the characters are not funny. It's not funny as a whole. Characters are not interesting or even likable. The villains are very generic. The writing has no purpose. The writing is filled with plot lines. Scrat's pretty funny, but other than that. And also, Crash and Eddie just get on my nerves. I freaking hate Crash and Eddie. And every time they're on screen, I want to shoot them. So, yeah, I just hate this movie. But the main reason I hate the Ice Age sequels, or hate most of them, or the worst part about all the Ice Age sequels is Crash and Eddie, because they get on my nerves so much that I just want to shoot both of them. So yeah, it's just terrible. It's mediocre. Bringing us into the top 10 is Robots. This one is just bland, forgettable, very forgettable, and bland. The animation is really creative. The voice acting by Ewan McGregor, Halle Berry, and Robin Williams is really good. But the story is just not great anymore. This story is just not great. It's not really that funny. Each of the characters have a generic trope, and none of them are even. They're kind of likable, but they're just generic tropes, and none of them feel like fresh characters. I just couldn't get into Robots. It was almost second to last on this list. But I decided not to put it that low. Robots is basically how I feel about A Bug's Life, forgettable and dull. Basically how I feel about A Bug's Life. So yeah. Coming in at number 9 is Ferdinand. Yep, Ferdinand. John Cena. Yep. The characters are annoying. The animation looks really good, but the characters are annoying, especially Uno, Dos, and Cuatro. Yep, we don't speak of Trace. That's a line they say in the movie because Trace is not in this movie. It's just Uno, Dos, and Cuatro, so yeah. Also, the goat played by Kate McKinnon is annoying. The characters are generic. The writing is not good. It's not really funny. The villains are generic, again, uninteresting. And overall, I just couldn't really love this movie. I kind of feel, people say that Illumination makes safe movies, but for some reason, I feel like Blue Sky makes safer movies. Not that they're bad movies, but they're just really, they play it safe. Play it safer than Illumination, probably. I like Illumination, but they just play way too safe with this one. Coming in at number 8 is Spies in Disguise. Spies in Disguise, the most recent movie on this list. This was a pretty mediocre movie. It's basically Emperor's New Groove, but Will Smith turns into a pigeon. It's way better than Shark Tale, I can give it that. The animation is cool to look at. The animation is really slick looking and great, but the voice acting is pretty good. But other than that, the characters weren't really too interesting. The writing was terrible. It wasn't funny at all. And the villains were your generic villains. And you had Komura, who's just like a generic crime boss character. And Killian, I think his name was, or Killen or something, who was our main villain who tries to defeat the heroes. Excuse me. So yeah, this movie is just mediocre. Coming in at number 7 is Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs. Yep, Dawn of the Dinosaurs. This movie is pretty average. I mean, the writing is still not good. I mentioned 2 times that I despise Crash and Eddie. And some of the characters aren't really too great. The humor kind of works. The animation is great, as always. Excuse me. And also, I didn't really mind Buck in this movie. He's way better in this movie than he is in Collision Course. So, that's a positive. I mean, this movie is just a mixed bag. Nothing great, nothing too good. Not as bad as Continental Drift or Collision Course, but not as good as the first 2 movies. So it's just a mixed bag all around. And if I had to rate this movie on like a critic website, I'd probably go more positive, but other than that, it's just an average movie. Coming in at number 6 is Rio. Yep, Rio. This movie is pretty generic. It's generic. But there's a good movie inside of here. There's really good animation. I thought the characters were likable. Oh, and I thought the villain Nigel was really good. I thought unlike Rio II, these characters weren't bad. I think they're really good characters. The writing could be a little predictable and weak and have a lot of plot lines and stuff. The humor, but it's really funny. Rio is a really funny movie. I laughed through this entire movie. This movie was really good. I mean, I wouldn't say it's amazing. I mean, I take back what I say about it being really good. Okay, it's really not. But it's just a good enough little animated movie. Like, if you choose animated movie night and you choose Rio, this is a nice choice. So, movie's just good enough. Bringing us into the top 5 is Epic. Yep, Epic. This movie is really good. This movie is underrated. The animation looks gorgeous to look at. But I can tell they copied something from Disney. Because our main girl character looks like Anna from Frozen. And another character in the movie looks like Flynn Rider from Tangled. So yeah. The villain here is really good. I really like the villain here. I think the villain's played by Christoph Waltz, I think. And Christoph Waltz is a really good actor, and this is probably one of his best. No, not as great as other performances in movies like Django Unchained, but this is a pretty good performance by Christoph Waltz. I think Christoph Waltz was the villain. I know he was in the movie, but I think he was the villain. The writing was a little lacking, but the humor's really good, and the characters are likable. So this movie's good. Coming in at number 4 is Ice Age: The Meltdown. Ice Age: The Meltdown. So, this movie is really good. I mean, I thought the subplots with Scrat were really good. The animation was nice to look at. The writing is predictable. It's predictable, but I thought all the characters were likable this time. I really enjoyed Manny, Sid, and Diego in the sequel, and this sequel, and And I enjoyed them a little bit in Dawn of the Dinosaurs as well, but I enjoyed them more here. The villains here were okay. The movie is a little forgettable. It's probably the most forgettable Ice Age movie, probably. But it is high up here because it's definitely one of the better ones. And I kind of forgot if Crash and Eddie were in this one. Like, I can't even remember if Crash and Eddie were in here. But this movie's good. We're in the top 3. Bringing us into the top 3 is Horton Hears Who. Horton Hears Who. My new favorite Dr. Seuss movie. Remember that video and how the Grinch animated movie was number 1? I take that back. Horton Hears Who is now number 1 on that list. And it's number 3 on this list. The voice acting from all the actors, like Jim Carrey as Horton Hears Who, as Horton, is great. The writing is really good. The animation stays really loyal to Dr. Seuss's art style. And so, yeah, and I thought the writing was really good. I thought it was really funny without being too juvenile. And I just liked this movie. I thought the characters were really good. And I thought the message was really nice, and it's so much better than Cat in the Hat. Oh my god, that movie was terrible. Well, as you can see, it's one of my least favorite movies of all time. But this movie is great. I love this movie. Coming out at number 2 is Ice Age. Yep, the original Ice Age. This is easily the best Ice Age movie, without a doubt. Sid, Diego, and Manny are the most likable characters. The baby, everyone hates the baby, but I don't get it. The baby is adorable. Well, I love the baby character. Scrat's always great as usual. The villains, Diego's family were great villains. It is a predictable and slow-moving movie because it's basically them delivering a baby. Other than that, it's really good. I love this movie, actually. The animation is great to look at. It doesn't hold up super well, but it was great for its time. But still, I can't get over that every single human in the planet hates the baby, and I don't get it. And I love the baby character. He's so cute. Yeah. So overall, this movie is great. I love this movie. Coming in at number 1 is the Peanuts movie. You guys all saw this coming. This movie is fantastic. It's easily one of my favorite animated movies I've ever seen. It's the animation stays really true to the source material. The movie is really good. I mean, the writing is absolutely great. I thought that it was really funny, and the characters were really good. But the main thing I love about this movie is that it's not trying to be like any other animated movie. It's not trying to have pop culture references. It's not trying to be cool and hip. It's not trying to have toilet humor. It's not trying to have any of that. It's trying to be its own thing, and I absolutely love that about this movie. So that reason alone is probably what made this at number 1. And it's just a good movie overall. I mean, it's one of the best movies. I think it's one of the best animated movies I've ever seen. And so, yeah, that's why Peanuts movie is number 1. So that was my ranking on the Blue Sky movies. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please stay tuned for my next video, which is going to be my top 20 worst animated movies of all time. So, thank you guys so much for watching in this video. Please thumbs up, like, subscribe, comment your ranking on the Blue Sky movies. I would love to see it. So thanks again, and have a great day. Bye.